Sons that were slain for minimal gain. Youth that can't read, speech that can't talk. Passion to move, a love that won't walk. I speak to you, my heart and my soul. My family and folks, what I surely owe. My 100 double O, nigga, ride a flow to the beat. Here we go.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of Education is the Best Medicine. And thanks for watching. And remember, community public access is your best bet. Today is a show with a good friend of mine, colleague, photographer, health conductor, and just a myriad of things. I mean, I was surprised that, he has time in the day to rest. I'd like to welcome Dr. Marcus Penn to the show.
Thanks so much, buddy. Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on. We've met, again, my push for in this show is always people that I see that are involved in the community on all levels, and you fit that bill, and it's so great for you to come on. It took a long time to get you on, but I'm glad we were able to get you to come on. Dr. Penn, tell us a little bit about your background, where you went to school, where you're presently working, and one of your passions.
Okay. I born and raised in San Francisco, and there's a very small number of us who fit in that category. Went to a private school, went to West Portal Lutheran School, K through 8, and after that went to public high school, went to Lowell High School. And following high school, I went to Morehouse College, spent a good 4 years there, and following Morehouse College, I was a pre-med major and had gone to Howard University College of Medicine in DC. Finished my medical education, realized that I really missed the Bay Area, and decided to come on back to San Fran, and spent 3 years back home, and now I've moved to Oakland. So presently, I am working at UC San Francisco through their cancer center, and I'm working out of the radiation oncology department as their coordinator of outreach and education in the community. Here in the entire Bay Area, and that just goes so perfectly with what I enjoy is really just getting involved in the community. I've realized that more of my passion and more of my role is actually out in the community as opposed to the hospitals. There's the role for the hospitals, the role for the practicing physicians. I'm more of a public health community advocate physician, and so that's where I am. But in addition to my passion for health advocacy, informing the community, and I just love to share my moniker in the community, and that is be informed, be empowered, and be healthy. And I think that's how we can really.
It's always in your emails too. It's really
Indeed.
something you send with it.
Indeed.
I just thought about a lot of things, and having you come on the show. You work in a field now that, and some of your work has been in cancer, and I want you to talk a little bit about that. We know cancers in African Americans are the number 2 cancers. Usually, it would be lung cancer, prostate cancer, cervical cancer for women, breast cancer, and tell us a little bit about your take on cancer in the community, and some of the things you would like to see happen.
Listening to my elders, I know that cancer is the big C, and really only recently, probably within the last couple of decades, have we allowed more conversation about it within our communities, within our families, and within our friends and colleagues. And so I'm just happy that the role that I'm in now allows for more of that dialogue. So again, just going with my charge of informing the community, and also with that informing the community, it also helps to dispel a lot of the myths.
Urban legends.
Most definitely. I know that there are myths where if someone is diagnosed with cancer and the doctor suggests that the patient have surgery, sometimes I've heard that surgery helps to spread the cancer, and that's not the case. But again, just not only just informing the community, but empowering. I think with information, with understanding about these cancers, with dispelling these myths, with knowing about screenings and taking care of one's own body, one can be empowered to take full ownership of their health and eventually become much more healthy. So I definitely am happy that my role at UC allows for that.
Some concerns in terms of risk factors in cancer. You know, a lot of us in the community feel that there's some environmental issues. We understand that genetics plays a role, and we also understand that stress plays a role in cancer. What has been your experience, and what are some of the things you think are going to be moving in terms of therapy, in terms of treatment of cancer that involve, you know, environmental issues, genetic issues, and maybe stress issues?
Mm-hmm. Definitely, when cancer is diagnosed, there are many factors that take place. So when another physician interviews the patient, they definitely ask like just those same questions: where do you live? The family history: has there been any cancer? What have you been eating? What area do you live? And so those just allow the physician to have a particular perspective on the patient. And so with now, I see that a lot more of the focus is, or actually a lot more of the focus in my desire is to be more on the patient as opposed to specifically the disease or the cancer, as that's the topic right now.
So what do you mean? You mean like getting the patient to understand lifestyle changes, activity, probably their own role in the maybe the manifestation and acceleration of the disease?
Yes, indeed. And again, that goes back to my idea of empowerment of the patient. Mm-hmm. So if the patient allows for discussion on how they're living and sees the interest of the healthcare provider, it can be physician, it can be nurse, it can be PA, mm-hmm. Physician assistant. I think that allows the patient to be much more at ease and to offer much more information that can help in the treatment, that can help in them finding the healthcare provider finding better ways in which the patient can really heal themselves. Because so long it's been the doctor's going to heal me, the surgeon's going to heal me. I just want to see where it can be the patient saying, I'm working with the doctor, I'm working with the surgeon to help with my healing.
Proactive versus reactive care.
Very much, you know. Very much. And one quote that actually I just read today, I listened to a conference, a presentation today where it says, even if there is not a cure, there can always be healing. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I believe healing needs to start before the cure can happen, mm-hmm. and that can happen in so many different arenas mm-hmm. of life and medicine.
You know, we always also talk about, and as a final question in this area, you know, issues of healthcare access and healthcare mm-hmm. disparity, and that role playing in either the underdiagnosis and in some cases, you know, the lack of diagnosis, particularly we're seeing with women in breast cancer, particularly younger African American women that have breast cancer, and probably my discussion, if screening starts at 20 as opposed to 40, maybe we'll catch more of these cancers in young black women. What role do you think healthcare access and healthcare disparities play in regards to treatment, evaluation, treatment, and again, not just cure, but you know, addressing the illness? Mm-hmm.
Well, most definitely, with there being health disparities, that by default means that there's an inequity of care that's being given. Just today, I was at a community advisory board meeting at UC San Francisco, where the past public health director of Alameda, Arnold Perkins, had spoken on the difference between health inequities and health disparities. And if I recall it correctly, he was saying, well, health inequities is where someone is getting care and someone who's giving the care doesn't want to give care to another person. The health disparity is, from what I recall, where one person is getting care and the other is just simply not getting the same amount or getting the same access to that amount of care. And so it's a lot of gray area in between. It's a lot of differences in which to approach each concern there. So what I see is the involvement of much more of the community in the healing, as I spoke on early, where as much as I would love there to be universal health care in this country, in this state, in this county, I think in the time being that there can be much more community healing where again we speak on issues that have been under the veil for so long, the cancers, the diabetes, the hypertension, the sugar, and with the diabetes. I just think just having dialogue, just as we're doing right now, just pikes the interest, puts the seeds in people's minds, and I think the soil of the consciousness that we have will allow more things to grow in perhaps universal health care. We might have that final way in which we can have that, but I just think a lot of healing can take place in our communities.
I wanted to talk to you a little bit about some of your other interests, not only as it relates to medicine, but it relates to, again, some of your other interests. Recently, in the last year, you've done a DVD. And tell us a little bit about the concept of the DVD. And hopefully in the second show, we'll play a few minutes of it and see. But tell us a little bit about the concept as a meditative CD. And trying to remember the name, but it was one you were giving to everybody, and just thought it was just an excellent way of like relaxation. What was it called?
It's called God Is, and regardless of anyone's faith or even the use of God, there's something else there's a power that we all are part of, and from what I believe. But in the DVD, it's a meditation DVD where I have my voice speaking calming terms and also just speaking a lot of affirmative words. And with my photography background, I have photos that I've taken all around the world, just flashing and.
Oh, so that's where the souls come from. They're great. Yeah, okay.
And then also I have just relaxing music, and so the way that I have that for, if I make it for someone, is I ask them what theme that they want. Say they may want a sky theme, a water theme, and I can show pictures in relation to that. The music, someone may want gospel, someone may want jazz or soft, easy listening, and then if they may want empowerment for work or to work on relaxation, I can just speak on words on that. So that's how that came to be, and it birthed for me from the idea of focusing a lot more of my attention onto health and wellness, and a lot of times it could be meditation, and I think again with all the terminology and the semantics of meditation and the yoga.
The black folks scared of, people go, yo, you trying to hypnotize me or put me onto something?
It's none of that. I mean, it could even be where way back in the country you see grandma rocking on her chair, maybe holding the child or just thinking or knitting. That's meditation. So I just would like that. Just a lot of folks don't get lost in the terms, but I really see that focusing more of our attention on, again, self-empowerment, getting ourselves in a healing place, as opposed to pushing against the anti with medicine. I mean, there's cancer initiatives, there's diabetes issues, and not negating any of those issues, but if I see that if we keep saying, let's stop cancer, let's stop diabetes and hypertension, I feel that still keeps that consciousness of having it, having hypertension, diabetes, and I think, again, just focusing more on how can we heal our bodies, how can we focus on ways to allow much more natural, not only ingestion of foods, but just natural operation of the body, because a lot of the foods and the things that we do are not natural in just historical sense of food.
We've had Dr. Green on. She works at UCSF and out of primary care, talking about these issues in terms of relaxation. We've had Dr. Harold Orr, who has gotten his degree in theology, and the physician over at Santa Rita. And I'd like to also thank Dr. Michael Charles for some real insight in terms of how to take care of oneself. It seems that medicine is moving more from the quote-unquote nuts and bolts, the shot, the diagnosis to more of an understanding of a power higher than themselves in regards to healing and treatment and cure. You seem to and has started to develop a very high awarenesses and incorporate it into your practice in daily life. What brought you to that particular plane? You know, we talk about Dr. Staggers Jr., who had did some major work on meditation and transcendental meditation and hypertension in LA, which I was lucky enough to be one of the members of the study to help the study. So we see this as a new concept, whether it moves us to a more of a spiritual side or understanding more of the power within ourselves. What brought you to that, and what do you think are some of the ways we can start moving to that?
I have always considered myself and thought of myself as a spiritual being, spiritual person. I mean, I grew up in a Methodist church, went to a Lutheran grade school, went to a Baptist college, Morehouse College.
Black folks there?
Oh, that's for sure. Gotta love it. Love the ATL. You know that's right.
Man.
And so that's always been a part of me. And during my time in medical school, I remember a class, and it was just one semester. It was about alternative medicine. It was about, it was like energy work, kind of like either touch therapy or I'm not sure the label of it, because I know there's a lot of labels of that, but I just remember there was a physician who had transitioned out of straight hospital practice, Western practice, and had shifted into alternative medicine, where I think I had even been used as an example, where I just stood up and he just kind of put his hand over, like my joints and, shoulder, elbow, and I think I remember he had his hand by my elbow, my right elbow, and he's like, did something happen here? Was it broken or did something happen? And I was like, no, it wasn't broken, but I had hit it against the door pretty bad, and it was hurting me. So I just remember just seeing a different aspect of medicine when I was the bright young medical student. That intrigued me. That definitely intrigued me for sure. Okay. White coats. So just having that introduction again, just put that seed in my mind. So with my already background in spirituality, seeing the application of something non-Western in medicine, regular medicine as we know it, into medical practice, put again that seed in my mind. And so as I had worked more in the community, worked at health fairs, health advocacy events, whenever I would speak to a patient across the way, I would ask them, like, how have you been thinking? How has your view on what's going on affected you, whether it's a health condition, whether it's angry that their mom or dad is drinking, or things like that, and just seeing more of the holistic view of the patient. And so now that I've come to more of the present time, I've seen that just as you had said, is much more dialogue on alternative medicine, or in the presentation I listened to today, complementary and alternative medicine.
Exactly.
That I see that I can speak on it more because it's a much more healthy environment in which to do so. So it's really been an evolution in that, something that's already been a part of me, and now I have the chance to talk about it.
And the flip side of that is that when I first started talking about alternative complement therapies, particularly the supplement industry, we had a $7.5 billion industry.
I don't doubt it.
It is now $15 billion industry.
Watch out.
And so one of the discussions that we've always had is people being intelligent practitioners of whatever it is to learn what they need to learn about, to understand that all supplements aren't the same, and there can be variance, and one supplement becomes one place and one supplement becomes another. And largely the supplement industry is not regulated. So FDA is not regulated. And so we need to be intelligent consumers. We need to talk to someone like you that studies it for a living. And so that's my only charge in a lot of the discussions. I think that we also have to point back to the fact that Imhotep was the first physician.
Father of medicine.
His father of medicine, an African man. So within that kind of discussion, what brings you to, as an African physician, the concepts of Imhotep, and how do you think you relate to him in terms of that? Because definitely there must be a line, because the extension is always here.
when I see that, when I think about that, it's funny, my very first business card after I was fresh out of medical school, I had actually put a quote by Imhotep, and a lot of folks may not know that the quote of eat, drink, and be merry is actually from Imhotep, and so I had that on there. But what I like to bring is, again, that bringing things back to natural healing. And not only natural healing of natural healers, but natural healing of the body. That's what's just so amazing about the body. You can get cut and it heals all by itself. You don't have, I know we put our neosporins and all that, and, definitely do that. But in effect, it probably, if it's a light cut, it still would be okay. Mm-hmm. So just getting back to that concept of each person realizing that we are our own healing power for ourselves and our community, and that's what we really want to expand it on. Just comes from African principles. Mm-hmm. Meditation, knowing that the earth is where we get our supply. And speaking of Africa, I had just recently gone to Ghana, West Africa, and it was such a wonderful thing to see Africans not only just empowered, but just all around, not just going to Atlanta or Chocolate City, right. DC, but just seeing just natural habitat. And while I was there, I really got to just release a lot of these old U.S. constructs of what we have to be, what we're supposed to be. Sambo
running around naked in their heels with,
exactly.
That kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is still a real concept. Mm-hmm. We've got about 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. I want you to talk a little bit about one of your loves, photography, and how you got started into it. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised. I didn't know that the DVD was photography from your work, which is it's a great piece. If you get a chance to get this DVD, please get it. I think you need to get a hold of him and talk to him more about some of the discussions that he's having. He's the new wave of physician that's coming down the pike that is going to be mixing Western medicine with complementary medicine and has an open mind and ear toward it. So I think those are the kind of folks that we want on the table taking care of us. That's why we have him on today. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about how you got into photography, and how does that make you feel? How's that healing for you?
Got you. Photography had always been a passion of mine. I think one of the best presents my mother and father had given me on a birthday was a camera. I think it was the old disc camera, I think with 16 photos. And I would just take pictures of everything, anything. And one of the funniest quotes that I recall my mother, my late mother, saying is, Marcus, he'll take a picture of anything, a rock, a tree, a house, a car, and I would, and I had. Mm-hmm. But even outside of that, I've always had an artistic sense. Previously, I used to draw a lot. I think as I was going through pre-med and medicine, I kind of let that go. Mm-hmm. But it's now really focused more in photography. Mm-hmm. And I've been blessed to travel much of the world, most recently Ghana. And whenever I'd have those trips, I would take pictures. I'd take pictures of landscapes, take pictures of people, and so it's been so cathartic for me because it's less about me taking the picture. It's more about what's in the picture is actually inviting me to capture it. That's how I see a lot of my photography. Where there are other photographers who will take 100 shots of one thing. And get a perfect shot out of 100. But for me, I like to call it, what I do is organic photography, where when I connect on a vista or connect on a face, it's just one click, and that's it. Mm-hmm. And the ones that you had seen on the DVD are from that process. And so I really have a lot of passion about my very first photo exhibit, which was called Faces of Ghana. It was held in Emeryville. And it was on July 14th, the day before my 30th birthday. It was just nice to put it all together. And so I have pictures of young and old, children, and it really turned out to be wonderful. Mm-hmm. So that would be the beginning of something great.
We have about a minute, final word, and this thought just came to me. I want you to end the show with what place your parents played in your life in becoming a physician. I want to thank my parents, and I want to say a special wish to Dr. Jeffrey Watson, who just lost his father, and I wish him well in healing, and to the Watson family, I wish them peace and speed. Tell us about your parents as we walk out.
My parents supported me in anything that I wanted to be, and they said if a physician is what you want to be, you can be. If you want to be more, you can be that too. Okay. And I am being more right now.
Well, Dr. Penn, Marcus, I want to thank you for coming on.
Thank you, buddy.
I want to thank you
having
for bringing light to a very dark world. Certainly, you bring light to a very, very dark world with your photography. And certainly, vision is the art of seeing things, yet unseen, you transcend that, and truly you are a visionary. In our mind, visionary is the art of seeing things yet unseen. Dr. Marcus Penn, I want to thank you. Looking forward to the second part of the show.
Sure.
And just great to have you on board. And thanks again. And we want to partner with you all we can.
Most definitely. Good to be in like spirits.
Thank you.
In the world, y'all check it. From mama's broken heart.